Hey, welcome back to Edge of Indy. Hey, we're having a great show with a visit from the folks of Hamilton County. We want you to head up north all today on the Edge.
Your audio and video source featuring Indianapolis tech trends, marketing industry champions, and business innovation. This is Edge of Indy. Broadcasting from Edge Media Studios. Let's get today's conversation started.
And welcome back to the Edge. Hey, if you haven't been to the show, haven't seen it, haven't listened to it, hadn't seen the digital wake that we're creating here in Indianapolis as well as Indiana, where you been? I mean, this thing is fantastic. It's barnstorming, right? The basket bin and all.
Basket basin.
Hey, we're focusing on Indianapolis movers and shakers, entrepreneurs and innovators here in Indy, featuring people and organizations that make Indianapolis a fantastic place to work, live, and visit. So we're asking all of our listeners and audience regularly to choose local and choose local often. That's what Edge of Indy is all about. I certainly want to introduce you to our guests here. We have Katie Utken, Digital Marketing Coordinator of Hamilton County Tourism.
Hi, Katie.
Us. Hey, nice to be here.
And Whitney Riggs, Digital Marketing Coordinator of social media at Hamilton County Tourism as well.
Hi, Whitney.
Hi. I actually do public relations, but social media as well.
Oh.
All the things.
All the things.
All the things.
And we also have Brittany Simpson, who is our onboarding and outreach manager at Site Strategics.
Did you forget my name a little bit again?
Nope, I did not. I'm just having those little senile moments every once in a while. Well, thank you for Hamilton Tourism PR and social media to visit us. First and foremost, for all of our guests here that are watching the show and listening to the show, they should know where Hamilton County is, right?
I hope so.
You'd hope so. But if for those of the viewers and listeners that don't know, tell us where Hamilton County is in relation to Indianapolis.
Yeah, so Hamilton County is just north of Marion County, Indianapolis, north side. So we are Carmel, Westfield, Noblesville, Fishers, and then a couple of the northern towns sprinkled above there.
Fantastic. So, I mean, for everybody, it's all on the radio dial, straight north.
Straight north, due
Just
north.
minutes north of Indy.
Towards the North Pole, but not
Closer
that
to
far.
Santa Claus,
Right.
but not that far.
That's an odd thing to say. All right. But for those of you who have not been to Hamilton County, man, there's so many things, so much rich building up in Hamilton County. I mean, just if you could, just give us an idea of what's now happening and what's coming soon to Hamilton County.
Yeah. I actually grew up in Carmel, born and raised there, and so I've been able to see kind of the development that's happened the past 10, 15 years, and it's just amazing how much it's developed, and a couple of our cities have been on national lists of best places to live in America, and I think that's really been reflected in the developments we're seeing, especially in Carmel. We're getting a lot of development to the Monon Trail, lots of new businesses there. This winter, we're getting the Chris Kindle Market in Carmel, which we brought some glue wine is how you
Hence
say
the
it.
wine as a present.
Wine showed up in our studio?
Wine showed up.
It's
I
the
hope that's
first
allowed.
time for that.
The first time.
We haven't opened it yet, but
Yeah, we can get this party started here.
These are my people. Didn't I tell you?
Yeah, evidently, you have an entourage. Fantastic. Can you dig into some of the additional businesses that you guys are representing today and as part of Hamilton County?
Yeah, sure. So as she mentioned, the Chris Kindle Market will be opening in Carmel, and that's kind of a big thing that we're focusing on right now. It opens this month. It will be about 40 vendors. It brings that authentic German market to the central Indiana area. I think there's one more in Indiana, which is in Ferdinand, south of here. So pretty unique to Indiana in general. And I know there's probably one in Chicago as well. So we're super excited about that. Along with that, it's going to be an ice skating rink. So it's really just an adventure for families around the holidays.
Oh, wow.
And of course, we can't come on here without mentioning some of the new businesses that just opened in Fishers, the big three, IKEA, Portillo's, Topgolf. Really excited about those coming to our area. We've already seen a flock of visitors coming. And of course, it's exciting for the locals as well.
But have you been to IKEA yet?
I haven't yet.
I haven't either. Katie, have you been to IKEA yet?
I have not been
Katie's
there.
been several times for media events.
I've been there for media previews, but I've not been there when it's open to the public. So I've gotten to be there when it's quiet and brand new. And it's lovely, but I have not ventured back over there yet.
I hear they have some wonderful cow skins there.
That's what I heard. That's
Mayor
what we
Fat
heard.
just went down there and bought some sort of animal
yeah,
animal
yeah.
skin,
Cow
cow
hide.
hide,
Interesting. Okay.
cow skins.
Okay.
In case you're in the market for.
Like rugs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a thing if you're into that. They've
Is that
got
on your
that
holiday
now.
list, Katie?
Yeah, that's on my wish list now for Christmas.
So what else is going on around Hamilton County a little bit closer to Christmas? More Christmas-related activities.
Well, in addition to the Christmas Market, there's a lot of different holiday performances at the Palladium, which is right there. So it's a nice little area where you can do some shopping up at the Carmel City Center.
Absolutely.
Books and Brews just opened a Carmel location up there, which we're really excited about. Have a whole little evening of eating, shopping, dining, ice skating. Hope you don't fall over. But
And beer. Yeah.
yeah, all the
Absolutely.
great things. Conner Prairie's got some really cool programming. So they close their outdoor grounds for the season, but they have Conner Prairie by candlelight, so you can actually go when it's snow covered, and they had the lights up, and you can go and see how they celebrated Christmas in the 1800s. So that's a really neat experience.
There's so many areas that, I mean, it's interesting about Hamilton County is that everybody knows about Conner Prairie, right? And there's, I mean, regular visits from all over the city. It's such a edifice there, right? There's so many of these areas up in Hamilton County that kind of shine through even borders around the city. It's just fantastic. That's one of them. I mean, just the buildup of business inside of Hamilton County has been awe-inspiring. It truly has. Yeah. So, I mean, not many counties can actually claim that they have these type of large attractions happening on a regular basis, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And we can't leave out Grand Park. I mean, they probably don't have very many holiday events going on, but that's brought a lot of visitors and attraction to our county as well. Each year it brings thousands of visitors to the area. And because of that, a lot of development has happened with restaurants, breweries. Urban Vines just opened, I believe, in the spring. It's a new winery. So it's kind of hard for our jobs to keep up with all the development that's going on. It's something new all the time, but also really exciting because as residents, we get to also explore those ventures as well.
Let me ask you a little bit about this from a marketing standpoint, just kind of getting into your jobs a little bit, because we're marketers as well, and we're usually working with B2B or B2C type of engagements, right? You are marketing an entire lifestyle, an area of all these different events, all this business growth. There's so many things happening. How in the world do you sift through all that? How do you know about everything that's happening? Obviously, that's your job, but I mean, can you kind of share with us some of that discipline?
Well, and then to paint the picture, to actually get people out of their normal day to day, getting people to come visit, because people are lazy and people they are.
Oh, absolutely.
And gas is expensive.
It's true.
Yeah. At work, they like to say that Whitney and I have our antennas up, so we're always, the first ones to find out about things because we're, on social media all the time, and we kind of have to be on top of things, whether it's through the news, social media, newsletters, just to get a feel and a pulse for what's going on out there. And we really have to be at the forefront of knowing the new developments and when things are going to open, so we can promote that to the general public. So, when there's a lot of new exciting things opening, you kind of have to prioritize what is top of mind, and what's going to be most popular and what's going to be most engaging to get people out of their houses, especially in the cold winter months, and maybe drive somewhere to go see something new. So it's definitely a challenge. We try our best to promote as much as we can. There are certainly destinations that are much larger than ours that have a bigger bite to chew off, I guess. But it's a daily struggle of what do we do, because there's so much to promote.
How have businesses responded to your information gathering? I mean, it's an ecosystem. As soon as they start seeing how responsive you are, right?
Yeah.
Then they'll start giving you more and more information about what's happening. So how have you seen the businesses grow? And can you call out any businesses that are really good at communicating what's happening and what's going on in their own facility?
Yeah, I mean, just to give an example, here's a plug for another business that's coming to Carmel, but Indy Coffee Roasters is opening a new coffee shop, I believe, in January, and we've worked with them pretty closely since day one when the owner, Alec Todd, walked into our office, and we created that relationship, and since then we've been helping him plug his business with different media outlets, working with him on his news release, really trying to get him involved with the area, with the community, introducing him to different local people. I think that's really important to create that relationship with each partner that we have.
Absolutely.
Each business owner. So that's a perfect example of, we've created that relationship, and hopefully it will continue on as the business gets started and going.
Because you all are so socially savvy and active, is that something education-wise you have to kind of engage these business users to like, okay, get on social media, start using #VisitHC, things of that nature? Is there a learning curve there most of the time? Probably.
It kind of depends business to business because, at our organization, I'm the dedicated social media person. That's my full-time job. But at a lot of these businesses, small mom and pop shops, that's kind of an afterthought for them because they're just trying to figure out their inventory and, paying the bills and going through all that. So I think more businesses are realizing the value that social media has, and that when you have a big Facebook following, when you post about that Friday night trivia, people are going to find out about it and come. So I think more now than ever, people know how to use social media and they see the value in it, but I still like to give them the basics of, here's a shining example of what you could do and what you could be. And it's really just a couple, maybe an hour a week just devoted to that to help build up your following. So, but we always want them to use our hashtag, and I've seen more and more of them, tagging us in their content so they make sure we see it and we can help promote them. So, I mean, we're an extension of their marketing team, essentially. We're there to help promote them. And
if they do it right, that you can really bring a huge amount of awareness to the non-branded consumer, and that's who you represent, and which is kind of interesting, because we'll market nationally and as well as locally, but being able to be that trusted kind of
guru.
Yeah, no. I won't do guru. It's almost like the Vanguard. You're actually up there letting everybody know what's happening in this local area. So instead of actually going to the search engine, right, you have the opportunity to be in front of them as you're promoting it. So you have that new relationship with the consumers as well as the businesses.
Definitely.
So that trusted advocate. That's what I was going for. Not guru.
Your website does such a good job of curating those images and things too, and really highlighting like people being active and people submitting those pictures. It's beautiful. Your website.
Shout out to Jordan, our guy who does all the
good job,
web
Jordan.
Stuff. We just got a new
brain behind the website.
Yeah, he is. He makes all the changes and makes it look pretty. But we got a new website back in January, so that's kind of been neat to see it fully fleshed out this year.
Definitely.
Excellent. So you have a great campaign that's going on right now, and that's Visit HC. So you've got all these images that you're curating through your website. Getting back to training the businesses, have you been able to get them to start contributing into this channel of communication kind of authentically with I mean, images sell so much, but beyond just trying to tell
more than words do.
I think so, yeah. Because anymore, people will come up to you and say, "Hey, I saw this on Instagram. What is this dish? I want it."
Definitely.
You know, that's how people do things now. They found in studies that people, when they're traveling, use Instagram more than a lot of other things now to plan because they want to know where did they take that picture with that cool mural behiund them. And
I want to go there too.
And I want to have that really cool coffee drink because it's going to look really good on my Instagram. I mean, people are vain and they want to go somewhere and take really cool photos so that, because then you'd be like, ooh, that looked really cool that they went there this weekend. I want to go there. So
it's ego stroking, right?
Say it every week. Those egos, Indy, keep them up.
Yes, absolutely.
That keeps the good photos coming in, and that's what we like.
Keeps the good photos. It keeps money out of their pockets into the stores and things. So all about the ego. Go Indy.
No. Okay, that's not usually our mantra here, but that'll roll with it. So what restaurants or events or venues should we check out in Hamilton County?
I'll go with my favorite first.
Yeah.
So I'm actually rather new to Indianapolis in general and even to Hamilton County. So I started this position in January.
Where are you from?
I'm from Evansville.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's been really exciting for me to experience all the different places in Hamilton County kind of for the first time. So one of my favorite spots to eat at in Hamilton County is Eggshell Bistro in Carmel. Yep. The owner is
He's
incredible.
like, yep.
Sorry.
Endorse.
He not only designed the restaurant, but he cooks. He brings your food out. Larry Haynes, shout out. He's awesome, and it's a great brunch spot. Amazing place to start your day off. So that's definitely one of my favorite places. What about you, Katie?
I like that place a lot because when we went in there and it's got this really cool French European vibe to it, and he has really cool music in the background. We asked him, like, how would you describe this genre? And he called it gypsy swing, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
It's a really cool experience, but Man, what have I been loving lately?
What's that place called? I'm making notes.
Eggshell
now.
Bistro.
Eggshell Bistro.
It's right next to Books and Brews, so you could have brunch
Okay.
there and then just keep on extending the day there. I
like how you think, Katie.
Yeah. Divvy is a really cool place next door to that. That's kind of one of those small plates things. So if you're like me and you're indecisive about what to eat, you can just go with a couple friends and grab a bunch of different small plates and try it all out and not be non-committal.
Yeah, definitely. And I would also say Katie and I both really like brunch slash
like
breakfast
food, if you can't tell.
slash starting the day off with coffee. Rosie's Place in Noblesville.
That's the
There's one in
best.
Zionsville as well, but it's a great spot. It's kind of your local, walk down the street, and it's always packed at lunch. And the owners are great, so I definitely suggest trying there. They have some great Eggs Benedict, and they change their menu quite frequently for their daily specials.
Wow.
So definitely
They
worth
have
trying.
the best pastry counter, too, if you like sweets.
Yeah.
They're known for their gooey butter cookies, which I guess gooey butter cake is a St. Louis dessert that people love, and they make it in the cake form and cookie.
Delicious.
And then they'll make pumpkin versions in the fall and, I don't know, some holiday version.
They have cinnamon rolls.
Oh, I'm sure
I
they
think
do.
so, yeah.
They've got big cookies. They've got everything you'd want. So
You perked up.
All this talk of carbs. Let's move on to who has the best meat and steaks up in Hamilton County.
meat and steaks. Well, I would say if you want to do it yourself, Joe's Butcher Shop sells probably the best meat in Central Indiana, in my opinion.
Sweet.
So, and they have they just opened a little shop inside of their shop that does sandwiches, and they have the best BLT I've ever had. I know that's not steak exactly, but
The bacon's in there.
the meat's in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Every day you gotta have bacon.
Maybe we should ask
Pretty good.
Facebook.
Doctor says.
Does he? What doctor are you going to?
My doctor. I found him on the internet.
Yeah. Are you looking in the
Googled him.
mirror at this doctor's appointment? Is it
Bacon
you?
doctor.
That's funny. Should we ask Facebook viewers to tell us their favorite places
Absolutely,
to eat
yeah.
and drink in Hamilton?
Yeah. Awesome.
I think we should do that.
So go ahead.
So, Facebook viewers, in the comments on the show, tell us, where do you like to eat and drink in Hamilton County?
And what's your favorite steak?
And what kind of meat do you like?
Exactly.
And do you like cinnamon rolls?
Steak more important.
Because I do.
So what you're demonstrating is you have almost this guerrilla knowledge of the restaurateurs and the people that are creating the fabric of the eating experience and the cultural experience inside of Hamilton County.
Yeah.
That's a sizable investment of time of just getting acclimated, right, and understanding what's going on, and on top of that, understanding what new business movements are happening. You have to get plugged in there. How do you help other counties, or have you helped other counties just in helping them be able to communicate a little bit better? Because it's not just Hamilton County. There's other proximal counties, and you want to be able to show a little bit of love there. But on top of that, have you ever given some guidance on some different counties and help with their social media?
Or sabotage them.
Or I was doing it nicely, but yeah, absolutely. Publicly shame them. No. You want to go to Hamilton County.
I think most recently we had somebody reach out from the northern part of Indiana,
yeah.
Kosciuszko County, and we had
Where is that?
that's
Is it Warsaw?
Warsaw,
Yeah.
Poland.
That's way
if you watch
further than I go.
if you watch The Bachelor, that's where Ben Higgins is from.
there
I'm
you
back
go.
in.
Okay, you
Yeah.
know where it is. So
Hello, Ben Higgins.
home of Ben Higgins, Kosciuszko County.
Talk about yourself.
They're yeah. He's like bachelor talk.
Whatever.
They're a much smaller organization than us, and they wanted to kind of learn and see how we do things. So their
Yeah.
executive director came and sat in on our monthly staff meeting and just kind of took notes on all of our roles and what we do and how we operate. Because
I think their staff is only about 5 people, and we're
Yeah.
about 25 people. So they really wanted to see how they could grow in the next few years. So
That's
that was
what I'm
really
talking about.
interesting.
Yeah.
And to kind of show the growth that not only our organization, but Hamilton County has had. 10 years ago, our staff was 4 people, and we're pushing 25. So, and kind of
That's
the
amazing.
sky's the limit. So, in comparison, I think Visit Indy is maybe 60 people. So we're not quite there yet. But
Do you want to give any shout outs to Visit Indy?
Visit Indy, they're
Visit
great.
Indy?
They're
Yeah.
great pals of
are.
ours.
I
I mean,
know.
because if you think about it, you don't think when you cross the 96th Street borderline that, all of a sudden, flashing lights come out and I'm in Indy or I'm in, Carmel or whatnot. So we try to work with them a lot.
Yeah.
We
we meet with them pretty regularly. They're, speaking of Counties Helping Counties, I mean, we've turned to them for a lot of different advice on different things as well, because they're awesome. Morgan and Nate in the PR department.
And Christine.
Yeah, definitely. And we work with Visit Hendricks County as well.
Fantastic.
They're great partners of us as well. And, we're always shooting emails just talking about different ways that, the ways that they're doing things and how we compare and how we can do it differently and what conferences they've been to lately. So it's a great partnership with all the counties around us.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what I was really going for. Is and there's this this back channel of just helping each other out, because it's all about growth of awareness.
Definitely.
And some counties are not going to have YouTube there. I mean, you're not going to have 25 people,
Right?
And you need to help bootstrap, because here's the deal: is that it's not only training that county, but that county has to train its businesses and its events and its venues. And if there's we talk about style guides and broadcast guides and stuff like that, so we can actually ramp customers up regularly, because they have a huge part in any social media program, right? Same thing applies. Your customer, your clients are the businesses of Hamilton County.
Right. And we've been very fortunate that we have great bosses that allow us to explore Hamilton County on our free time and during the workday. So our boss is always telling us, hey, take the day and go explore this new coffee shop, or go see this new park that got new developments. I know, right?
If they're clients.
So it's awesome. It's awesome to be able to explore in that way, and
that's nice.
And really get to know the people that are going there. And businesses and restaurants are always changing, so keeping up with that as well is sometimes a struggle.
Yeah.
We'll be promoting it in one way, and the next day it's different. They have a new kitchen, they have a new chef, they have changed locations,
they rebrand, or whatever the case is.
So it's keeping up with those things as well.
Yeah, you kind of have to have the lifeblood of all the different businesses and what they're going through.
Yeah.
Some of our Facebook watchers, the Pint Room might have the best burgers.
They have a really good barbecue grilled cheese too, I think. Is that what it is?
I think they have a good barbecue chicken salad too.
They have a lot of good things.
It's right by our office, so we go there pretty frequently.
Yeah, our office is in Carmel in the Arts and Design District, so we have a lot of great food options within like a 5-minute walk of our office. So a lot of us will go out to lunch every now and again. So we've sampled all of the things within like a 5-minute walk of us.
Yeah.
Everything's a business expense whenever it comes down to research and development.
We're doing market research when we travel, when we eat. This is market research.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See,
it's hard work.
No. Redemption Ale Works, some outstanding beer up there.
Oh, okay.
Portillo's.
Oh yeah,
we've been to Portillo's.
Ooh, Matt the Miller's
Miller's
pretzel
is a good one
bites.
too, yeah.
And
Those are
brunchies.
so good. Brunchies.
Brunchies.
Let's all make a plan to go to brunchies.
Okay.
Just sounds.
Does it say
so
where it's located at?
In Carmel?
I think I know.
Okay, have to try
We're
it.
going to Carmel.
I'm still new to the area,
All right.
so that's my excuse.
road trip. Also, 4-day.
4-day Ray.
Brewery.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
awesome beer and
Very
great
cool.
desserts too. They have a pastry chef. Totally worth going out there.
He's got to have cinnamon rolls. I'm going. I got to go. Show's over. I'm going there right now.
We need to get that. We need to have a care package from Hamilton County down here in Marion. I mean, to be able to just have a cornucopia of all the different foods, right?
All the pastries.
All the pastry, all the meats.
We'll bring cinnamon rolls for Brittany and bacon for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nice. Does that work?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Can you tell us more about our giveaway too? I want to make sure that people
definitely.
know what they can expect, and then towards the end of the show, I'll tell you how you can win it.
Wait a minute. They're giving that away?
Well, the wine is
for
going to
you
stay
guys.
with you guys.
Yeah.
That's the important part.
Yeah,
Can I?
no worries.
Lord Almighty, look at you.
So yeah, we have a little gift package here that has some gift cards and different little trinkets and stuff. But all the gift cards are from new businesses from this year. So R4 Galleria in Carmel. I believe we have Caravan Classes, which is an art studio in Noblesville. And there's a few other ones in there. I think it's probably about a $75 value. So
I love that. Thank you for doing that. That's so nice.
definitely. We want people to come and have a good time in Hamilton County.
So stay tuned for details on how to win that. We're not telling you yet. You have to stay.
But there are some requirements. They must Instagram themselves all the way through utilizing these. All right.
Yep.
They
And
gotta-
use hashtag VisitHC.
That's right.
Ooh, good plug.
And there has to be bacon in each photo also.
Yes, I believe so.
Bacon and cinnamon rolls go together really well.
They do.
Oddly, they do.
They doesn't sound like a bad day to me.
Nope. All right. So before we go, what would you like to say to the viewers who haven't been up to Hamilton County before?
I think there's a lot to discover on the north side. And I think, it's just, if you're living in Indy, it's just a quick drive north. There's been a lot of developments, even in the past year or so. I would say now that it's the holiday season, got to come up and check out the Christkindl Market. You can get some of that glue wine is how you say it. It's mulled wine.
May I model it for you?
You can model it, absolutely. So you can get that. It's served hot, I believe, normally. And you get it in like a little boot mug.
Vanna here has to have...
Vanna White modeling the glue wine.
There we go.
Carmel Christkindl Market opens November 18th. Yeah, a lot of fun things going on, and I feel like there's new business every couple weeks. There's always something new to explore.
Yeah, and I highly recommend that everyone try and come up and explore all 4 of the cities. Each one of them is very unique and has something different to offer. So taking a day just minutes north of Indy and exploring each one of them.
Very cool. What about businesses that are looking to move? What should they know, and who should they get a hold of to understand whether or not it would be a great place to move their company?
Yeah, we've in terms of like businesses like restaurants, you mean?
Get a hold of us.
Yeah, we can get you in touch with people. But I mean, there's been a lot of businesses that are expanding to a second north side location. You look at Kaplinger's Fresh Catch has a place in Noblesville.
Cake Bake Shop.
Cake Bake Shop is coming to Carmel next year. We're very excited. Books and Brews just opened. Sun King, of course, is opening their distillery in Carmel next year. So there's kind of this big trend of businesses kind of launching in Indy and then spreading up to the north side, which we're really excited about. So
definitely.
Yeah, if you're thinking about it, it's a really booming area to be and to grow your business and follow that trend and get in touch, and we can get you in touch with the right people.
Excellent.
They know people.
we know people.
We know people.
No big deal.
So hashtag visit HC.
That's correct.
And we want to make sure everybody jumps onto that. You can also connect with Hamilton County Tourism at the website. If we have them on screen, visit hamiltoncounty.org.com. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No.
we're good.
I'm just using.
He wants it to be an org.
Twitter is Visit Hamilton Co. Facebook, Visit Hamilton Co. Right? And if you just search Hamilton County Tourism, you'll find them at the top of the list, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Well, very good, very good. Well, I really appreciate the time, ladies, and let us know how we can help Hamilton County as well. We certainly want to be able to showcase. I mean, this is Edge of Indy, not just Indianapolis. This is also Indiana. So in any way, shape, or form, we certainly want to showcase businesses that are up and coming, or organizations that are plugging into the culture here in Hamilton County. We want to be able to showcase them.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
No worries, no worries.
It's been fun.
Okay, coming up, we're going to be talking to one who needs no introduction, but we certainly should warn you regularly. We're coming up with Paul Poteet on the Edge right now.
Real life, real stories. Let's see what's trending in Indianapolis. This is Paul Poteet on the Edge.
You all love that jam
We really do.
That's my jam.
every week.
I'm gonna make
That's
that
what
his
that is.
ringtone. That's the new Paul Poteet ringtone. He's just gonna
That's all
jovial
that's on
about
my
it.
iPod. There's that, and all of the stuff on the iPod from the one cute Jonas brother. That's the only one I follow still.
Okay. Well, there's that.
The truth comes out.
Good afternoon, Paul. How are you doing today?
Hey, how you doing, everybody?
We're good.
I'm
We're good.
fine. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't like the way November has started so far.
Oh my Lord, we went down in a heartbeat,
Yeah.
didn't we?
You got to admire a month that just literally spits at you when it arrives. Just you walk out the door to go to work in the morning and it's just spitting from the sky. Hello, I'm November. That kind of thing. So other than that, I'm fine.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you look good. You look perky.
Kind of like the young Jonas.
Exactly. See?
Would you say that? Would I look like the cute one, Brittany? Or?
Of course.
Okay, all right.
Maybe if we merged it with Mr. Bean.
You have to. My teen idol, universe stretches all the way back to I can remember from. Well, I guess do the Beatles count for boy bands?
I guess if you
Because
did.
they were boys, right, at the time.
Yep.
So I go back to I got the Partridge Family somewhere in my head too. And
we could have a really great jam session. Oh, that'd be fantastic.
oh my gosh,
We could
when I first got to ZPL, we were still playing Bop. So I mean, if you want me to drag out some of my Hanson mixtapes, I'll do that right after.
Could
the
we have
segment
Hanson
today.
as an introduction song? I mean, that'd be
Bop, 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 bop. Those lyrics are all at the bottom of the screen right now. If you can't see them, they're on our website. So search edgeofindy.com.
Hanson needs a reboot. They really do. I mean,
they're still doing stuff. They've got a bunch of kids now. I think they have like 8 kids each.
Oh my God.
At least one of them I know has a pretty large family already. I don't know if they're all married or what, but I haven't kept up with them.
And then they all have blonde hairs, kind of like Children of the Corn, pop culture.
I was going to tweet them and tell them to watch this, and now I can't because you mentioned Children of the Corn.
I liked Bop. I don't remember any of the other songs, but it was okay. I've heard worse.
I'm sure you have, and
yeah, right.
I think we do need to probably make a segment of the worst things that Paul has heard. Just to kind of wrap.
Well, unfortunately, sometimes I've heard them in the headphones and they've been coming out of my mouth. So, that's a problem right there. Sometimes it's entirely me that has caused them.
So what keeps you on the edge this week, Paul?
Well, I have found a couple of places that you don't want to be. I've found 2 places you don't want to be and 1 place you want to be. How about that?
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
we'll put off the good place for a little bit longer here, kind of like life.
Oh my gosh,
that was pretty deep.
I really was. Yeah,
you have to put off the good place for like 70, 80 years. How many months would that be? Do you suppose that we all live?
Oh, our producer, our producer actually referred right before we went on show here that the average lifespan is 30,000 days. Is that?
See, people, this is what they talk about in the breaks right before me to get me pumped for the show, for the segment.
It's like, okay, that's motivating.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll get to where you want to be in just a few moments.
Roger that.
Now, wait a minute, though. Maybe this is where you want to be if you really like beer.
I think so.
Maybe this is. Maybe I've got it all wrong because this guy, 38-year-old guy from Wisconsin. Now, Mrs. Poteet is a native of Hurley, Wisconsin.
Roger.
All my in-laws are up there. Nothing about this story surprises me. 38-year-old dude goes into the Quick Trip, and it's a fun store because they spell quick with a K.
Oh yeah,
Kwik Trip.
Yep.
Goes in there to buy some beer. Became trapped inside the walk-in cooler.
Hold on. Flag on the play.
Please, go ahead, please.
So, how do you get trapped in the walk-in cooler with a store that's open?
It's written kind of a passive way. So it's just like, oh, he just became trapped. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and they're not even closed yet. It says about 11:50. Rather than bang on the glass door to be let out.
He drank.
He decided, he'd spend the night inside a place where the temperature is 32 degrees.
Okay.
I mean, you drink through it. That's what we've all learned. You drink through it.
They found him the next morning when they came in to open up.
And he was great.
And he wasn't so passed out that he couldn't run because he apparently dashed out of the store, drink and dash, left the store without paying for what he drank. Now, get a load of this. An 18-ounce bottle of beer.
Okay.
3 cans of malt liquor.
Okay. Yes.
2 turtle doves and a palm tree. Merry Christmas, by the way. It's November. He drank the bottle of beer, big bottle of beer, 3 cans of malt liquor, and also fell over a stack of 30-can beer packs.
Oh, my Lord.
Breaking 3 cases open. So for all practical purposes, he went through, over 3 cases of inventory.
Up and through. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. And was issued a misdemeanor citation for retail theft. Now,
so how does antifreeze actually work into this particular story? Because, I mean, is he actually consuming enough to keep him? I mean, he's at 32 degrees, right?
That's pretty chilly. I mean,
real chilly.
I don't know, I should have looked and seen what the weather was outside there on that particular day. But so does he have a jacket on? I mean, if it's 50 degrees and you're wearing a little light thing outside and you come in and, camp out in there, did he intend to do this from the moment he walked in?
Yeah, exactly. Trapped.
And more importantly, am I going to have to be the one that brings this up? These beer coolers, they may have a lot of beer, but are they fully equipped?
There should be snacks.
Wow.
You know what happens when you drink beer, at least to me, if you drink beer.
How's the plumbing in the beer cooler? That's what you're saying.
So what's going on with that for how many hours? From Okay, from 11:50 p.m. to 5:50 a.m. That's 6 very long hours.
Absolutely.
In my book.
Check the rest of the stock. Make sure that
Yuck.
there's no cider around.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for ruining cider for me.
Yeah.
That's
If
what
it's,
I drink.
Certain kinds of light beer, I'm not sure you'd be able to tell.
Oh, that's why I go for Guinness all the time, just to make sure that there's no crossover.
Oh.
Don't cross the streams. Get it?
Yep.
There we are.
So that's a place either you don't want to be, or like if you're a normal person, you wouldn't want to be in a cooler overnight, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're putting someone on ice. That's not a good thing usually when people say that. But if you're in Wisconsin, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I think it does go for mentioning that that probably has happened more often than not in Wisconsin. Just saying.
Shout out to my in-law family in Wisconsin, the Farleys. Hi, everyone. I know you're watching.
And to the Renzels also from Paul. It's a fine state. It's very pretty 4 months of the year. But seriously, no. It is you'll testify that it is a very scenery-filled state.
Very pretty.
Yeah, lots of lakes and things like that. But it gets very desolate about this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah, this winter starts now until about May there. But yeah, that's the story from Wisconsin. This is a story from Scotland. Now, this is a place we can all agree we want to be. On a plane with no other human beings around us.
What?
Nobody in front of you, to stick their big seat back,
No crying babies, nothing.
No crying babies, unless they're my 2 grandsons. Then they'd be so adorable you wouldn't even notice.
Aww.
But no crying babies. No
germs,
no guy that may have smelled like he spent a night in a cooler, nothing.
Wow. Okay.
This 57-year-old woman was on a trip to the Isle of Crete from Scotland. She knew that the flight on this thing called Jet 2 wouldn't be packed. I guess it's normally pretty quiet, but she had no idea just how light the trip would be. It was the last flight of the season, apparently. She went to the check-in counter and she was asked to guess how many people were on the flight. Mm-hmm. And she laughed and she said, maybe 10. Was informed that just 3 people were on the flight. But as she waited at the gate, the other 2 passengers never showed up.
That's a dream. That is a dream.
Wouldn't that be awesome? And they still, for whatever reason, they had to run. They were going to run it in. It had to go back to the island of Crete. So they said to me, quote, "This is your own private jet." And thus began the 4-hour and 20-minute journey that Grieve described as the best plane ride of her life.
I bet.
Yeah.
I
awesome.
bet. But doesn't it also have all the trappings of like the beginning of a Stephen King movie?
Well, it does. I mean, you look at that picture that she tweeted there, and it is kind of, it's almost like foreshadowing. Mm-hmm. Why are all of these,
like a Twilight Zone? Yeah. Where did they all go?
Yeah, right. Everyone else got off the plane, but her.
You're going into another Crete dimension.
Did you have your bags checked through to the Rapture? I think it said RAP on the side of your suitcase. Is that what that meant?
That's funny.
Yeah, right. Well, she didn't have any baggage. That's why she gets to go, right? The pilot introduced herself. It was a lady pilot who introduced herself right away, chatted with me, and said the minute the seatbelt sign was turned off, feel free to run up and down the plane if I wanted to.
Wow.
And so she did.
You would have to. I mean, you would have to.
You have to skip.
At
Absolutely.
I mean, and just imagine like the pilot saying, "All right, Aaron, as we look," I mean, she said everything was, they used her name every time they'd make an announcement.
That's funny.
The pilot would point out landmarks, and at one point we flew through an electric storm, she said, and the pilot said, "Quick, run to the other side of the plane." It lit up with lightning. It was so amazing to see.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. So
she had the plane to herself. That's winning the lottery.
So rule of thumb, if you want to actually have that experience,
head to Crete.
Fly to Crete.
You have to be flying from Scotland to Crete, because I guess coming back then in the other direction, or it had just, when it had gotten to where she was, I guess it had been full. I thought I read in the story. So.
Nobody from Scotland wants to go to Crete. Evidently, there's a boycott.
There's some bad blood there.
There's a rift.
There are a lot
absolutely.
of conflicts in the world. A lot of conflicts. We can't solve everything. Apparently, there are a lot of conflicts in Louisiana. Now we're back to places you don't want to be. There's no debating this. You don't want to be in a Chuck E. Cheese when violence breaks out. Maybe you don't want to be in a Chuck E. Cheese
ever.
Or ever.
Is Chuck E. Cheese, is that the same thing as Showbiz Pizza? Is that the same deal?
No, it was very, very similar. They actually evolved into it, and and sanitary, it is not.
But they were fun. Man, they were fun when you were little, though.
Absolutely.
But just Petri dishes.
And you got, now they got the creepy animatronics, and if you know Five Nights at Freddy for the younger audience, it is literally weird. And on top of that, you have that ball pit, right?
Germs.
Yeah.
That is just a Petri dish. You're right.
Herpes.
I don't get enough contact with other people's feet on a day-to-day basis. So just jump right into that ball pit.
Oh, whose Band-Aid is this?
Oh, gross.
Band-Aid. Well, in the middle of that zesty milieu,
Oh, wow.
you spray a little pepper spray on it and see what happens.
Okay.
A woman wielding a can of pepper spray sent patrons at I believe it's Metairie, Louisiana. I don't think that's too far from New Orleans. They were in a Chuck E. Cheese. They went scrambling last Sunday night. The woman, the police report says, indiscriminately blasted, as opposed to discreetly blasting, the nearby crowd during an altercation. So she was arrested for disturbing the police. 5 adults, 2 children. Luckily, nothing too serious, but what they call exposure.
Right.
Had to be treated at the scene. Somebody notified the sheriff's office deputy who was working there at a security detail that there an argument was getting out of hand. The deputy made his way toward as the story calls it, fracas. Seems a bit lighthearted for when the pepper spray comes out, but I think you're beyond a fracas at that point.
You literally have chemical warfare happening in a Chuck E. Cheese. That's what's going on.
He saw the woman indiscriminately spraying pepper spray, so she was
What is
taken
up with
into
that?
custody.
Ma'am.
So if you needed another reason maybe to skip the Chuck E. Cheese, that would be one right. I didn't order this with pepper on it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, I tell you what, I mean, as we've gone through these stories, the phrase of the day is zesty milieu.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
I mean, every time we need to be able to pull out the word of the day, and you nailed it right there. That is fantastic.
Zesty milieu. And can you imagine if they had at that Chuck E. Cheese, I don't know about if they had a 3-way liquor license, but if they had a walk-in cooler in the back, and there's some dude that's just on vacation from Wisconsin, back there in the middle of all of this pepper spray nonsense.
And then all of the other attendees disappear. So you have a pepper-filled
on the airplane.
Chuck E. Cheese.
I bet a lot of them did disappear at the moment that the freak is
better
broke
believe.
out.
Boom, they're gone.
I'm gone. I didn't say anything. So that's what we found for you this week on The Edge.
Fantastic. Well, we got to ask you, is this cold weather going to disappear anytime soon?
Yes. We finished up today. Will be I believe it's the 5th consecutive day of 40-degree days.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty early, even in Indiana this time of year to be getting that in late October, first day of November. But we're about to head in the other direction for a while. And it's interesting, the month of October still came in about 3 degrees above average because it was really warm. You may remember in the middle of October, so that balanced it out. We are going to get some chances of rain, though, over the next few days. The forecast with the snow that we had this morning has moved along, but rain reforms here in the afternoon and evening. Just plain rain, because the temperatures are actually going to go up overnight tonight and all the way to the mid-60s. Thursday, some showers in the morning, and then probably again late in the afternoon and the evening. Friday looks pretty good. Let's make that Saturday. Maybe if you have flex time at work, there you go. And just come in and work on Saturday. Scattered showers and storms then. Could hit 70. Sunday may turn out to be pretty decent also. We may just have showers in the morning and very late in the evening. And some more chances on Monday. And that eventually will lead us back, it looks like, to the 50s for much of next week, which would be about normal. It's the normal for the first day of November is 59. By the last day of November, the normal high is 45. So
Shut your mouth.
Things start really changing in the month of November.
Yeah,
obviously.
they do.
And we change times too next week. Or what? Sunday? Late Saturday night.
Paul, can you get on a mission to stop that? I mean, literally, can we just stop the changing of times?
stand athwart history and yell stop.
Can you do that?
Well, you don't bring up, if you want to have an entire Edge of Indy episode to be related to the time change, good luck with that. As a lifelong Hoosier, I don't know how many.
Gosh, I mean, can't we just have one time that we're staying put?
Well, we did that for a long time in most of the state. Remember, we didn't change our clocks, but yeah, then we were Eastern time sometimes, and then Central time other times.
You know what I would also like to put on the table?
What's that?
Sunday alcohol sales. Can we get that on? Let's get that going. Let's get that going too.
It's either legal or it's not legal. Don't have 500 asterisks, in my opinion, in my humble opinion,
and let's have some expeditions into the beer coolers throughout the state.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
Keep the doors open.
I am going to lock myself in a beer cooler Saturday night just so I can make sure that I have access to it on Sunday.
That's a way to protest right there, Paul.
That'll show them.
All right, so we're going to have a remote cam in the beer cooler with Paul next week.
That's right. Why, look.
Fantastic, Paul. Well, thank you so much, and thanks for the edgy stories. How do we find you on the interwebs?
I'll be right there at paulpoteet.com if I'm not, otherwise occupied. paulpoteet.com. Otherwise, I'm in the liquor store restroom. Knock twice.
And be armed with pepper spray.
That's right. And be armed with, just in case I need a backup.
Because he could be Paul on the edge. All right. Thanks so much, Paul, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
This is Edge of Indy, showcasing Indianapolis tech trends, marketing industry champions, and business innovation. Broadcasting from Edge Media Studios. Now, let's get back to today's topic.
Zesty milieu. That's right. I'm going to keep it going. Hey, welcome back. We want to introduce to an organization that's committed to promoting the healthy development of Indiana children and youth. That's Indiana Youth Institute. Let's introduce you to our friend here, Tammy Silverman, President and CEO of Indiana Youth Institute. Thanks for coming on the show today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
More than welcome.
Glad you're here.
More than welcome. Well, we're honored to have you here, and we want to thank you for the work that you do for the Indiana Youth Institute. Can you actually share with our viewers and our listeners what Indiana Youth Institute is all about and what you've been doing for Indianapolis?
Sure. First and foremost, we exist really to serve all the other entities, all the other organizations that help kids. So when you think about a YMCA, a Boys and Girls Club, your after-school programs, your faith-based programs, coaches, teachers, counselors, if you work with kids, we're there to help you, to further your mission. And so I think it's kind of really unique. I worked in Illinois for a while, and there's not one of us there. So it's really one of those things that acknowledges that those groups that are working directly with kids are so busy with the day-to-day service that sometimes they need assistance with fundraising. They need assistance with board development. They need assistance with professional development. Maybe they don't have the latest and greatest information and research that's out there on working with certain issues. We just did an issue brief on the impact of opioids on kids.
Right.
They're not the primary users, but boy, are we seeing huge numbers of kids who are being negatively impacted. Those groups, because they're dealing with those kids, can't go out and do the research, can't go out and find those solutions. That's what we're there to help them even further their work a little bit further.
Well, and I want to wish you a happy November because I can't believe
you.
it's November, and it's also National Philanthropy Month. Is that right?
Absolutely.
And I know
absolutely.
that's something that you all really try and do is not only generate that in the community, but also get parents to instill that same spirit into their kids as well. So can you tell us about how you're trying to get that done?
You're brilliant. Yes, because what we've said is that's a practice. It's a skill. Philanthropy is a skill just like anything else, like playing basketball or soccer or a violin or a piano, and you have to start training it. And oftentimes we as adults think that you'll just kind of grow into it and inherit it, but really it's observed behavior. It's
practice. It's not the natural place that most people are regularly. I mean, it's a habit that you have to get into.
It is, but yet we found there are a lot of school groups that are teaching that, right? There are a lot of groups service clubs that have a service component, and so it can be learned. And there's also a whole bunch of kids out there that see other kids see other kids that are struggling or in crisis, and they want to do something. So instead of saying don't worry about it, that's a big person problem or that's an adult problem, say let's think of a realistic way for a kid to help, right? If you've seen the hurricanes. Maybe, we're not going to have kids going down there and helping with hurricane relief on the ground,
Right.
but they can do a food drive at their school, if
Or
they're
a lemonade stand or
You
whatever the case
betcha.
is. Sure.
So
Be careful of those lemonade stands. You got to have a permit to get a lemonade stand.
depends on the neighborhood and the county, right? Like
and
you
if
might
you,
be.
and if you get caught,
there's a couple usually in my neighborhood on any summer
Sure.
day, and they're cute. They make it. But I think really encouraging those kids to go on their own intuition if they want to help. We also work a lot with all these different entities. About 800 youth serving organizations in a year we will work with.
Oh, wow.
One of those is the Indianapolis Children's Museum, which we all know and is spectacular. They have an event coming up called the Power of Child Awards, and it's really for they're going to spotlight some kids who have done amazing philanthropic efforts. And so our goal is also to help promote that event and to help people to spark those ideas and innovations and say, if those kids can do it, maybe you can too.
that makes my heart so happy.
Absolutely.
That there are good little kids out there doing big things. I mean, that's
Huge things.
Yeah.
Huge thing. Well, and I'll tell you about a couple of them that they shared with us. Is there was a student who was, I believe, a junior in high school, and he was saving up for a car. And yet it became aware that he had aging family members that didn't know how to use the internet. We can probably all relate to what that looks like.
Right.
And so what he started, he took that money, and I think it was like $4,000, and started rehabbing computers and training seniors to email with their family members.
Oh,
And it's turned,
that's so nice.
isn't that awesome? And it's turned
Wow.
into a huge project that he's been able to sustain and to think about just fulfilling that need, seeing a need within your own family, addressing it, and then scaling it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And on top of that, we know that philanthropy.
Philanthropy.
Yeah, and children. Thank you. Doesn't stop with children, because we know that parents and adults pay attention to children, and we take some of our marching orders if we see such a authentic want to give back to community. You better believe adults will get in line, because I mean, one, you don't want to be outshone, but at the same time, it brings you back to
You betcha.
what's real and what's pure, and it kind of relights the pilot light sometimes.
You betcha, and genuine. When I talked about that hurricane relief, that actually someone at our office, his kids' schools had decided to do that, and they were having a little family gathering, and he has 3 little boys, cute as they can be, and who gave this little pitch on why it's important that we help with Hurricane Maria relief. And he said people were like, you betcha, how can I give? What can
Yeah.
I mean,
Take all my money.
Literally,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
so genuine, and that heartfelt relation that sometimes I think when we're so busy working day to day and we're so busy doing all the things that we do, and you stop, and sometimes you can overlook the people that are somewhere else that aren't right in front of you, and kids see that with such great clarity.
Well, and as adults, we know, we might invest time in something and it could fail. But when you're a kid, you don't know any better. So you want to try, and you're going to try until you get it done. So they're not bogged down by those failures and the fear and all of those things that adults
bet.
usually are. So good job, little
Absolutely.
kids. Keep
I
doing
mean,
all your stuff.
It's inspiration for adults, absolutely. So your team has a column on youth I can't say it today.
Struggle bus.
Wow. Coming out in 4 days.
Philanthropy.
Thank you. You just
Philanthropy.
say it for me.
Yep. Just point to me when you need it.
That's coming out in a few days, November 6th. So can you give us a preview of what that research is?
Right.
The philanthropic research. See?
That one's easier.
There you got it. It's really to say that there are those long-term benefits that kids that start looking at the world around them and responding to that carries over, and there's decreased likelihood that they're going to engage in risky behavior. So if you think about, if you have your kid doing a drive for a book drive for the local library, that's going to perhaps keep them from doing drugs and consuming alcohol, and it decreases teen pregnancy, it increases graduation rates, and it increases their likelihood to vote as adults, believe it or not. Isn't that amazing? So again, because it's that I'm engaged with my community, I know what's going on, I feel a sense of responsibility. And it makes sense when you stop and think about it, but sometimes you don't think about if we do this little activity, if we all go and volunteer together, and for little kids, they even said as little as setting up setting up a bag where they put their clothes that they outgrow and then taking them with you to Goodwill to donate. I mean, it doesn't have to be those big projects. It can be little things, but they have big dividends.
Actually, those little things can, with the child's buy-in, is you're planting seeds of character inside them. So sometimes even the larger, more grandiose things, there's a bit of a separation from the kid. But if they can actually give of themselves, of things that they used to enjoy and play with, right, or some of their old clothes, and they literally take it down to like Bridge, or they take it down to Shepherd's or something like that. You're making those connections. You really are.
And particularly when they interact, sometimes, so they get to learn kids are kids, and that's one of our big philosophies at IYI is kids are kids. And our goal is for every Hoosier kid to reach their full potential. And that means a lot of different things for a lot of different kids across our state and across central Indiana. But the reality is it's really in all of our best interest, right? If every kid succeeds and thrives.
I want to touch on achievement gaps too. I know that's something that you all have been really focused on, is kind of identifying the achievement gaps and then from that finding a solution and building up kids where they need to be built up. Can you tell us about the work you're doing in that arena?
Yes, we're very excited. We just participated in our first annual Race for Results report we released. We're the Indiana affiliate for the Kids Count Network, which is affiliated with Annie Casey Foundation. Lots of affiliations there, I know, but
I feel you.
It's like 6 different degrees of separate, but I got it. I think we're there.
We got it. So
nobody gave me props on that. I'm so sad.
I got it. So and we do a lot of data work. We release the Indiana Kids Count data book. We roll it up to the national. This one was kind of that next step forward where we said, let's break down those numbers and let's disaggregate the data by different populations. And let's take a look at how different groups of kids are faring in Indiana. And, for a lot of the people boots on the ground, it wasn't a surprise. But I think when you really look at the data, there's some challenges out there for us. There's some big challenges in those achievement gaps, particularly when you look at the proficiency in reading levels and math levels and what that looks like for kids of color and immigrant kids.
Wow.
Huh. Well, the IYI vision is that all Indiana children and youth will attain 5 critical elements of healthy youth development. Can you actually kind of go through those 5 critical elements for us?
Sure. And they're basic, right? It's what you think of, that they need to be healthy, obviously. They need to be well educated. They need to be safe. They need to be engaged. These are like they need economic stability.
I don't see bacon on those 5
There's not
points.
bacon, but it could go into healthy if you can make the case for that.
I absolutely can justify that case.
I don't know how you would do that, so...
There's another show right there. All right. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But again, it's not one or the other. And I think that's where we also come into play in helping to connect some of those organizations. Maybe you have one that's really working on childhood obesity, but they're not connected to the education one. Well, if they're not, and the education entity is doing the after-school program, maybe they're not doing healthy snacks.
Right.
Maybe they're not. And so it's the connections, because if we can get them all connected, the impact's greater.
I also want to talk about an upcoming event that you all are a part of, the Because Kids Count event on November 14th. Can you tell us about that? Because it's like here now. It's
actually a little later.
Oh,
the
is
date? Yep.
Okay.
It's the 27th, 28th, and 29th.
Okay.
The registration date, the close date is the 14th.
Right.
There you got it. And so it is actually the largest conference in the state for youth workers. And so it's usually about 1,500 youth workers come together for all kinds of different trainings. Again, and it's things that we survey them and they tell us they want to learn about. Grit and the growth mindset. How do you take, when you hear kids that you say, gosh, these kids are just playing video games and they're lazy. How do we instill grit in the growth mindset?
Do you have a camera in my house?
It's a popular one, I'll tell you, throughout the state. It's popular. It's the opioids. It is mental health. It's, all of these topics run throughout the day. So it's really an intensive time where you can come and kind of get an infusion of the most updated information. You can also talk to your peers and hang out and get a little inspiration as well.
Sounds like a good event.
Got a lot of things going on.
A lot, always.
And thank you for manning the helm there, because like you said, in Illinois, they don't
didn't happen.
They don't have anything like that.
And I would just say kudos to the Lilly Endowment, because they actually envisioned us existing in the state and
Sure,
saw
sure.
that need. So like so many things around
Yeah,
Central Indiana.
why don't you actually give some shout outs to some of the partners of your organization,
Yes.
some contributors that help on a yearly basis?
That would be, thank you for that
Not a problem.
opportunity. First and foremost, when you said manning the house, I mean, really, we have a spectacular staff. I have to say, we're a small but mighty little crew out there. And I hope, actually, I would invite you both to come as our guests to the conference and take a look at it, at least for bits of it, because it's amazing. And I can say that because I've only been there a little while, so I don't feel like I'm too much tooting my own horn, but it's spectacular conference. And then there are all those partners, Lilly Endowment, the Pacers Corporation have been with us
Sure.
since day one. We all know, again, what they do for the community. Vectran, if you're not familiar with the Vectran organization and their community impact,
Yeah, they do some big things.
they do lots of big things, as well as some newer folks, TCU, Credit Union, Old National Bank, who's kind of new to Indianapolis and really is coming on strong and helping out a lot and really has a dedication to kids. I think those are some of the bigger ones. There's a whole list of them. In fact, we just went live with the whole conference book, so you can see what all the sessions are if you go to our website.
And you've got some great speakers lined up too. Is that right?
Spectacular speakers on, and we kind of like to tease people into going and researching them. But Red Rubber Ball is really talking about how do you find your passion and how do you find your mission and what's your direction. We also have a woman who's speaking who was a foster child. And what her experience was. We know right now Indiana, I believe, is ranked second in the country for the number of kids who are being removed because of addictions. And so what is that experience
Wow.
like? I know.
Really?
We might be one, I hate to say, Brittany. It's
That is
tough.
That's really tough.
Heartbreaking.
It is tough. And so that's also our December column is talking about, we've been working a lot lately on figuring out what that looks like and what that impact is. And really, again, what we're learning is the current system that we have for foster care hasn't been updated in a long time. And so, for example, the reimbursement rates for daycare are very, very low. And yet the people that are opioid addicted are often young. And so that means there's young kids, right? And so even if you had the heart of gold as a family who might foster a family, if you're going to pay out of pocket for 3 kids for daycare, that's a really big ask.
Yeah, it is.
It's a really big ask. So lots of complex issues now. Now, and in talking about opioids and foster care and all that, I think it's also important when we talk about the philanthropic efforts that, our kids in our state are amazing, and they'll just blow your socks off whenever you work with them and encounter them.
That's awesome work. Keep up the good work. How long has Indiana Youth Institute been in existence?
28 and a half years, I believe. I'm going to check my, check our source.
Get a thumbs up in the corner. Okay.
Almost 30 years. So I know we're looking ahead to that already and saying, we really need to mark this milestone. Because again, we're unique in the Midwest, most certainly, and there's really not that many folks around us like us around the country.
This begets a much larger conversation, but we're certainly going to lift up the show, make sure that our followers know about what you're doing, but how can other businesses help? How can our listeners and our watchers contribute? Because, we have a unique position on this show to be able to influence a lot of millennial mindsets.
Right.
And millennials are wanting to give back. They're wanting to find a cause. And my gosh, this is a perfect vehicle for that. So how can they help?
Sure, most certainly. I would say the easiest way is to go to IYI.org and look on there because there's a how to help button. And the other thing that we're talking
It's almost like I teed it up for her, right?
Yeah, it's almost like you've been to the website before.
and really also the idea is to think creatively. One of the things that we're talking a lot about is there's no one right solution, right? So we're also in the fun spot and the space to say, if you have a great idea on how to reach kids, come and talk to us about it. Maybe we can partner you with an existing organization. Because again, when you work with so many different ones, we had an individual who was an entrepreneur, young, who was she was doing like anxiety reduction in little kids from a food truck, if you believe. So she was going around to different schools.
Love that.
And talking to them. And, a lot of kids that live in crisis situations have a lot of stress on their shoulders,
Absolutely.
right? And so their anxiety levels are high. And so she was doing like intentional breathing and yoga and all of that, but from a mobile.
I love that.
Isn't that spectacular?
That's so smart to do
and
that.
so we were able to also talk to her a little bit about who might fund that, right? Like how might she connect to different, and she was already doing gangbusters on her own with some United Ways and YMCAs, but hopefully, we could help further that. I mean, what a great innovative idea. So again, if you just want to contribute and help and you want to volunteer or you want to donate time or money, let us know. If you also have one of those out there ideas that you're not sure how it might fly, talk to us about it.
All ideas welcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if they revolve around bacon or pastries of any kind.
Then contact me about pastries.
All right, so parting thoughts for you to talk about where you are in your mission with Indianapolis. What would you say?
We've made a lot of progress, but clearly we know not every child is thriving. So what's the call to action? And I think that's where we need to really step up and say, rather than when we see all these things in the news, when we see these data points, to kind of don't disengage from those. Don't be overwhelmed. They are big, complex problems, but truly everyone, if you plug in, can make a difference. And to find where that is, and if you don't know where that is, reach out to us, reach out to the United Way, reach out to the Center for Leadership Development, reach out to and we'll connect you. We'll connect you.
Fantastic. Well, you can connect with Indiana Youth Institute on Twitter, Indiana_youth, as well as Tammy_IYI.
Tammy with an I.
Tammy with an I.
Thank you.
So there's 3 I's in there. On Facebook, Indiana Youth. You can also search on LinkedIn, Indiana Youth Institute, and the website, IYI.org. The November column for Youth Philanthropy. Oh, Lord. You're killing me. Is on November 6th, IYI.org/blog. You can be able to check out all that information.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you for what you do. Really.
Well, keep us abreast of what's happening, because we certainly want to lift up in social and make sure that everyone's aware of your organization, because it's a huge factor in just the growth of a city, is to be able to. And also it demonstrates what the character of the city is by how they take care of their youth.
You betcha.
So, and we would love to connect you. We've had guests on this show, and I'm sure they're running through your head right now, too.
Absolutely.
Organizations that have been on this show that would be perfect to connect with you. So we will happily do that, because we've had some great people on this show, and we want to get them connected to you as well.
That's what it's all about, right? That we're all working together.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so for all of us at Site Strategics, as well as Brittany and myself from Edge of Indy, we would certainly want to thank everybody for listening and watching, and make sure that you share often the show as well as the podcast, because we want to get the word out with who we're interviewing and what we're doing here in Indianapolis to be able to showcase the movers and shakers inside of Indianapolis. So for all of us, thanks so much for joining Edge of Indy, and remember, we're going to be coming back next week. Who are we talking to next week?
Wait and see.
Well, okay. Wow. So, all right. So, for all of us, thanks so much, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.